Man, there is always this one story that comes to mind. It was when I did the Ice Roads tour in Canada. Like, if you've ever read like Edge and Christian's book and stuff, they did the Ice
Yeah.
Road tours. It was that one. And so this was the 6-week long winter tour with CWF. And we were towards the tail end of it. We're going to our last town in Ontario before we were going to head off to Winnipeg. And this was like, we're heading towards the 3-day like vacation because we've never had a day off in like 6 weeks or something like that. So everyone's ready to, party and get wild in Winnipeg. So we're like, yeah, we're just going to make this one last town. We're going to go. It's going to be great. So we got from one of the towns we're working in, we got to this like middle point. I think it was called Pickle Lake. And we were basically waiting for clearance to hit this road, but it's not even a road. It's like we drive in the bush. Like, it's literally like a roller coaster in a car. So it was supposed to take us about 6 hours or so to get from Pickle Lake to this last town that we were working in. But we had to basically stay the night in Pickle Lake because the road was like covered in snow. The other road had like a house that had fallen into the road because they move like houses on those like 18-wheelers, and it had like fallen through a bridge or like fallen through the snow. It blocked off the road. Whatever.
Shit.
So we're staying overnight in Pickle Lake. We're calling the person at the other town. They're like, yeah, we got clearance. Like, you guys can go. It turned out that mine was like, forget the fact that we never got the damn clearance to hit the road. That road had never even been open in 2019, like ever. It was snowed in for the whole year. And they were like, yeah, it's cool. Come on down, guys. So we head off, and there's no cell service. Like, we're literally in like the woods, like not even on a road, only service cars come here. So we're just going and going, and fuck, we get stuck in the snow. We're trying to push the ring van out. It's not going anywhere. We literally have to unload the entire ring van. We're taking out the ring post, the ring, all the lights, and like the trussing, because we have like a whole production set, and Lord knows why. We take it all out. We push the van. We load the damn thing back in. We drive like 40 yards and we get stuck again. And this is the part where we're all like, fuck, man. So we figure out how to push the damn van out. And then we drive probably another like 200 yards and we get stuck again. And we're just, at this point, everyone's like, we're never going to fucking make it. The third time, somehow we managed to get it out. And then like the bus with all of us gets stuck. We push that thing out of it. And it's like midnight. It's already 6 hours in. We're not even halfway there. We finally go, and then we get stuck again. And like this time we're like, we can't. We're incapable of getting the damn thing out. And thank God there was like a service truck that was passing by. They hooked us on, pulled us out, and then we literally got stuck 2 more times going there. And like I would have to jump out of the van with the rope, and I'm like climbing under the ring truck, digging away in the snow, tying it up. I'm like, all right, guys, start pushing. So we're pushing from the back. We almost ran our promoter down once on accident because he didn't hear us say, get out of the way.
Oh, Jesus.
It took us 12 hours to get there. We had to drive over maybe frozen, maybe halfway not frozen lake. And by the time we get out of the car, we're like ready to kiss the ground. It's been 12 hours. Oh. And everyone is just like, half the people went to sleep in like a gymnasium floor, and like the 3 of us are sitting in the kitchen drinking coffee. We're like, I don't even know what the fuck just happened. Like we're just at our wits end. We're like, we still have to get out of here. Like, we got in. How the fuck are we gonna get out of here?
Oh my God, that is crazy. That, like, the point that you said, yeah, we drove over the frozen lake, well, maybe half frozen lake, that would have been terrifying in itself. Like, I would, like, yeah, where I'm from, I've never seen snow. And if someone said, yeah, maybe frozen, I'd be like, yeah, fuck this. I'm going the other way.
Well, because usually there's like a certain temperature that we consider safe to drive over the lakes. and it was kind of like nearing away from that temperature. So they were like, "There's a little bit of water on the ice, you know." But at this point, we're just like, "Yo, we've been stuck like fucking 6 times tonight. We're like, we gonna cross this damn lake or we're gonna die in this van." Because I shit you not, there were like wolves howling. Like we would get out of the van to dig the van out, and we're like, "There's like wolves out here." And my promoter, in the middle of us digging out the van, he found like like buns of hot dogs, like the bread, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, we're not gonna need these," and just throws them in the woods. I'm like, "Are you serious? Like, what is happening? We're gonna get eaten alive."
Oh my God, that is crazy. That is ridiculous. But another thing I wanted to ask was, you live over in Japan now, and you've been wrestling there for a little while. How did the move to Japan happen? Are you stuck over there from COVID and you're not allowed to come back, or is it just wrestling is still going on over there, and obviously in America and Canada wrestling has sort of been restricted a great deal? Where did the whole story of living in Japan come from?
So I was originally coming here for 3 months, and right towards the end, I was already taking bookings for like WrestleMania weekends and all that good stuff. But I got an offer from Marvelous. They were like, "Hey, we don't usually offer this to people, but we want to keep you here. You know, we want you to keep training with us, keep doing shows, all that good stuff. So let us know if you want to stay." You know, so I took like a day to make that. I was like, "Yeah, I'm staying." Just like, I'll cancel my other bookings. Luckily, I didn't have to cancel anything. Well, not luckily, because COVID kind of canceled everything on its own. So I had just accepted to stay here right before like coronavirus just fucked everything. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll stay here for another 3 months." And I just kept extending. Like they were like, "Hey, do you want to keep staying?" Like, "Oh, we'd like you to stay." And at this point, like when we go to extend, they're like, they don't even ask me. They're like, "Yeah, we're just gonna next time." Like they assume that I'm gonna stay here, and 3 months, like, "Hey, I'll be home in April. Hey, I'll be home in July," turned into I don't know if I'm ever coming home because we never stopped training because we live in the dojo, and shows started happening live in July. We were doing tapings from the dojo since May, I believe. So I've really been wrestling, thankfully, being with Marvelous like the entire year. And now that things are, cross my fingers, doing rather well here, I have absolutely no business leaving.
And how did you find going over into Japan? And obviously, you said the stint was only originally for 3 months. How do you find the Japanese culture, and how did you find adapting to living in a foreign country, also a country where that language isn't your first language?
I have always loved like Japanese culture and Japanese wrestling. And, thank God I had the first experience of being here on tour when I was 18. So I was almost kind of used to it because, like, having that be my first experience when I was 18, like, immediately just coming to Japan, like, I'd never wrestled. I'm like, this is my first experience. It
Yeah.
kind of felt natural to come back. I was like, oh, like, I kind of know what to expect this time around. So, of course, the language barrier is always going to be a little difficult. I'm definitely getting better with my Japanese, but, it wasn't really much of a culture shock aside from all the food because I've eaten some really weird shit out here, but it's all delicious.
Yeah, I mean, Japanese food is amazing, and Japan, from what or everything that I've heard about, is one of those countries that everyone needs to go to and just experience, especially like Tokyo and places like that. Like for me, it's a bucket list place for me to go to. But in the comments section, Chris Kennedy just wanted to know what your thoughts were working with Jordan Grace.
That was actually another one of my what the fuck wrestling stories because I had no idea I was even booked that day. I was preparing to go wrestle for WSU in New Jersey, and at like 4:30, I forget who it was, but somebody from Impact called me. They're like, "Hey, where are you? Your match is at 6:45." And I'm like, "My what?" And I immediately, like, thank God I had my bag packed and I was dressed because I had just immediately got in the car and booked it over to the Melrose Ballroom. I called WSU. I'm like, "Hey, I can't make it tonight. I'm on Impact." I just ran into the door. I spoke to Jordan for like 10 to 15 minutes, and then immediately I had to like go into hair and makeup. And pretty much by the time I tied my boots on, they were like, "All right, go in the gorilla, like you're going out." So actually working with Jordan was, it was great. I'm to this day I'm happy with how the match went, and I would love to wrestle her again. Hopefully be in an Impact or be it elsewhere. But it was definitely a very interesting day to say the least because I had like 10 seconds of preparation before I went out to the ring, and you know, it went great, especially considering the circumstances.
That's mind-boggling though. Like they just ring you, like, "Hey, by the way, where are you? You've got a match tonight on Impact." Like, was that like
Nobody thought to call me earlier.
did so? It wasn't pre-booked. It was